What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast on Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We're going to talk about guitar stuff. We're going to talk about, I don't know, whatever you want to talk about too. Get in the comments, ask questions, etc. If you have anything you want to add, anything you want to discuss or etc., you can put that in the comments as well. This is an ad-free podcast, always. Sorry, I was a little distracted. I got a new phone today, and of course, you start the transfer and the backup and transfer process, and then it never ends up working out at the right time. You know what I mean? So there's always stuff going on. So anyway, so that's happening today. This is an ad-free podcast, so that means that when we do these live streams, we don't turn ads on YouTube. So if you see them live, you won't have to watch any ads, which is pretty sweet. In order to support the channel, you can do a couple things. You can use a super chat today. You can go to DylanTalksTone.com and buy a pickup or two or four or a guitar or some pots or a t-shirt like this one or a hat or whatever you want. You can also use the links in the description. A lot of those will support the channel and etc. So yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out. And we really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. So I don't know what made me think of this. I think it was, of course, probably Facebook, because Facebook is such a dumpster fire all the time. And you can't say anything over there without people making a big deal about it. And I get a lot of questions on the more positive side of things. I get a lot of questions about, hey, how come you don't do X or Y kind of content, this or that, etc. And so I thought, you know what, let's talk about that today. That's a pretty interesting thing. And we got a super chat from Dave. Thank you, Dave. He says ad free is nice. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that today. There's a lot of, and then we'll also get into, well, I don't know. It'll probably just open up some conversation for a lot of stuff, which is kind of fun. Super chat from Kyle. He says, hey, my Epiphone Les Paul special with Dylan P90 is so too amazing. I sound like me. I get to express myself now. Thank you. Awesome, dude. I'm glad you dig it. And those are the cool ones, right? We did neat covers on that for you. Really fun. So super cool. All right. So, I think this turned into, I was going to be 5. Actually, I wrote on my piece of paper over here, 5 videos I will never make. It ended up being 10 types. It ended up not really being never, because I never want to say never, right? Things change and we might grow in a direction that we don't expect and etc. So therefore I don't want to say never, but as it stands right now, for very constructive and positive reasons, actually, this is stuff that we get questions about it a lot. Like, hey, how come you don't do, like I said just a minute ago, how come you don't do a certain kind of video? So number one, you're never going to see how to play videos here. No skill building exercises, no how to play a certain style, because that's not my focus. It's actually never been my focus. Even when I was a kid and learning guitar and even playing live over the years and all that kind of stuff, being some kind of virtuoso was never a goal of mine, actually. I wanted to have a basic fundamental understanding of music, how music structure works, because I'm sort of a nerd about this stuff. So being really, really, really good it was just never really a goal. I wanted to learn the why and the how of it. So now music theory, I understand. But so I can break down a song, I can break down chord progressions, I can learn by ear very well, like that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, actual proficiency, it's just never really been a thing. So I've always been like a punk rock rhythm player, because you can play sloppy and it sounds fun and it's good. And so you're never going to see any kind of skill building stuff on here, just because I just don't have them. And I'm okay with it. A lot of people, I saw somebody comment the other day, like, I don't know why Sweetwater gave such a mediocre guitar player a guitar. And I'm like, well, it has nothing to do with the skill. It's not what we're here for. It's not what we do. Skill building and showing off my skills in that area is not something that, well, showing off in general, it's just not something that I do. So we'll never really do that. It's, and honestly, I don't watch that kind of videos either. I think one of the things you'll see as you go through here is, as we talk about these, is these are also stuff that I don't like anyway. I don't watch this stuff, so I'm not interested in it. So most of what we talk about today versus the stuff that I actually make is not interested versus interested, if that makes sense. Number two, because that's all that needs to be said about that one. I'm not that great. But I don't need to be that great of a guitar player to be able to hear. I think a lot of people are like, well, you're not a very good guitar player. I hear this all the time. You're not a very good guitar player, so why would I trust you about tone? And I'm like, well, hearing is different. If you think you're so good, why does your tone suck? When I hear you, I'm like, you got some problems, bro. So I don't say that really, but I could lots of times. So hearing is important, and understanding what you're hearing is important. And that's a skill in itself. That's a different skill. And not every proficient guitar player has that skill. Not every guitar player can hear bad tone. I can't tell you how many times I've been to gigs and said, man, that guitar player sounds amazing, but this sucks. It's terrible. But the guitar player is really good. And so it's two different skill sets. When they merge, that's pretty neat, right? You have something pretty special when everything merges, when somebody really knows how to get whatever sound they want. You hear some of these Nashville utility players that they can go into any circumstance, any room, any guitar, and get the sound that they want. Like, to me, that's amazing. And then be amazing guitar players on top of it, right? That's a whole thing, man. It's so cool when you see that. But honestly, it's not that common. It's really not that common. And so I'm okay with being in the majority of players that can't do both of those things, right? Like, the majority of players aren't the person who is uber proficient and can hear everything and really understand all the aspects of how to make it do what you want it to do. It's not always in the same room. And so I'm okay with only being in one of those rooms. I'm okay with not being everywhere at once on that deal. It's just kind of not my thing. Let's see. Number two, this is a big one we get questions about all the time. Amp content. I know how they work. I have a firm grasp of the concept of how they work. I can look at a schematic. I can repair one. I can read a schematic and I can know this is what this part of the amp is, and this is what this part of the amp is, and I know what that component does, and I can read a schematic. That's easy. And I can make the correlation between tube and solid state, like looking at it and like, okay, these transistors are the amplifiers, and this is the voltage regulator, and this is the, I can go through all that stuff. I can do that, but it's not something that I'm very interested in. I really, really do understand how amps interact with. So one of the main concepts that I think people don't think about when they think about amp stuff. So I'll just give you kind of a little, and maybe I should do a video on this. So this is sort of an interesting crossover, is sometimes you don't pair the right guitar with the right amp, or sometimes you put this guitar with this amp and expect a particular tone, but you're not going to get it for various reasons. And this is why we see interesting pairings like, I'm not saying you have to work hard, but there is a specific thing that a Vox AC30 does. So depending on what guitar you put with that, it will or will not do various things, right? How how the pickup interacts with the amp is really, really important because you're making voltage, right? And so headroom and frequency response between the two, like what an AC30 is good at is different than what a Fender Deluxe is good at. Fender Deluxe is different than what a Marshall JCM 800 is good at, right? So you have to know, but when it comes to like repairing and especially speakers, everybody's like, speaker makes a bigger difference than the pickups. Okay, I guess, maybe, kinda. But it does, makes a fairly big difference, but you're not going to see me doing videos about it because I don't care. The reason I don't care about it is because if I were to, this is one interesting thing that actually just hit me as I was sitting here. If I were to have a very specific amp setup, okay? And I did for a while. I had a really nice amp setup. And the input that I got from others was, well, of course your pickups are going to sound good because you're playing through a $5,000 amp, which was true. And it was amazing. So if I were to have a very specific amp setup with a very specific speaker, with a very specific everything, then it would take the sort of the flexibility argument, which is one that we make quite often with our stuff, Dylan Talks Tone, our pickups, and take that away. And be like, well, it only works because this. No, I want to be very unspecific. Is it one of 4 different modelers that are available? Is it a Marshall? Is it a Vox? Is it a solid state amp? Is it a Class AB push-pull with a digital effects side, like a Boss Katana? Is it, whatever? It doesn't matter. Is it a positive grid? Is it a whatever? My stuff needs to work everywhere. And so that's why I don't have a specific, I would never tell you, well, you really should have this speaker. Well, the thing is that speaker might work with a specific combination for a specific person, but the more you get, especially with amp stuff, amp pedals, the more you get specific with it, the more, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but sometimes it'll go down a particular road tone-wise that then you'll sort of have to back out of so you can go a different direction. And I don't want to do that. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't, that's one of the reasons why I don't do it. That's why we don't do a lot of amp stuff. And I'm technically not as proficient when it comes to explaining it. I can look at that's the other thing. I know stuff, but it's different to teach stuff. And amp stuff is in that ballpark for me. So like if I were to make a video about it, I would have to speak in such generalizations because I don't really know how to explain it to another person, because teaching it is a different thing. I can look at a schematic and like I said, I can make repairs and I can troubleshoot and I could do all that, but it's not a practical thing that I can share with another person, if that makes sense. It's happening in my brain and it's happening right now, but it's not easy for me to transfer that information to someone else. So it's just not something that I do. Let's see. Uh-oh. Dogs are excited about something. Let's see. Best Amazon, blah, 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 blah. Pedals, guitars, amps. I don't see any reason to do any of those videos. I just feel like there's enough. Here's the reason why people do those videos. I'll tell you why they do them. They do them because there's affiliate dollars involved. So it's a very easy sell to say, we're going to talk about the best Amazon thing, so that you'll go buy this $39 Amazon thing and I'll make a bunch of affiliate dollars on it. Because here's just a little inside baseball. Here's the way affiliate dollars on Amazon work. If you go shop for the $39 thing, okay, and you decide, you know what, that pedal's actually a piece of crap, or that guitar component that he reviewed is a piece of crap, I kind of disagree with him. Oh, but you know what? I need toilet paper and I need glass cleaner. I make money off of that, even though you didn't buy the guitar thing. So Amazon's awesome. And I encourage everybody to use our affiliate links because it really does support the channel. But the reason people make a lot of those videos is not because they fully get behind the fact that this Amazon thing is awesome. They do it because it's profitable. And that is against my principles as a human being to do that. Now, I will tell you, I always tell you, we have a link. It's an affiliate thing. It does help us out, but it's your choice. You can use it or not. But I'm not going to base my content solely on that when I know better. Because let's face it. There's a couple of different, we'll get into this with a couple of different types of videos later too. There's different goals when somebody is sharing something that they like, right? I like nice stuff. So I'm going to show you cool things on this channel. I'm always going to show you cool stuff on this channel. And does that mean that like inexpensive stuff, cheap stuff is bad? No, absolutely not. But it doesn't interest me all the time. Does that mean it never does? No, absolutely not. But it still has to be cool, right? There can be some very inexpensive things that are super cool that I might show you from time to time. Cool skills, things like that don't cost a lot. Guitar setup stuff. And you know what? Sometimes you need a fancy file from StewMac to do something. Sometimes you can get away with a cheap one from Amazon, right? Just depends what you're doing. So, but I'm always going to show you the right way to do something as best I know how. And I'm always going to show you the way that isn't going to waste time. So if a StewMac tool saves a bunch of time, even though it's a bit of an investment, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to tell you there's this other thing on Amazon. It works. But there's no point in promoting mediocrity because it's everywhere already. So I don't need to spend time promoting mediocrity, I guess. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then the whole thing with the cheapest good thing is it's just a race to the bottom then. Then it's just like, well, this thing's cheaper. Is it as good? Well, that's cheaper than that one. Is it as good? And you just get this whole thing is just race to the bottom. And inevitably, you're giving up something, right? You can't just make a thing cheaper. I don't think people realize that. You can't take, you can't take this pocket knife right here. And you can't just say, you know what? I'm just going to make it cheaper. If you do, you're taking profit away from it and you're threatening your business. If I just say, we're going to make a cheaper one and it's exactly the same as this, well, how do you do it? Well, there's a couple things you have to do. One, chances are you have to change some superficial stuff, like make it smooth instead of have fish scales on it. You have to change the pocket clip from titanium to aluminum. You have to take the pearl button off and make it into a plastic button. You have to use a thinner anodizing method. You have to make it in China. You have to do lots of things like that. So just to make something cheaper, you don't just make it cheaper. You have to give something up. You have to make changes to the product. So when somebody says, is that thing just as good as that thing? The answer is automatically no. It's not, because there have been compromises made to make it more inexpensive. Period. 100%. And so it's just how it works. It's basic economics. It's just how it works. So I don't see the reason or the need or the have a desire to promote that way of thinking. I want you to be able to do something right. I want you to be able to do it repeatably. I want you to make a good investment in yourself and in your hobby. And so doing a bunch of cheap stuff reviews off of Amazon makes no sense. Now that it's not to say that I might not run across something on Amazon. In fact, there is a video that I need to do right now. And it is a tool that I bought on Amazon, but it's because I found it and it actually works pretty good. And it is not a comparison to another tool. It's just a thing I found on Amazon. So I'll share it with you. It's that little, I'll just tell you what it is. It's the little roller skate thing that you put a nut or a saddle in. And StewMac used to make one. They don't make it anymore. And so I was like, I really want one of those. I wonder if the one that's on Amazon is decent. Okay, it's cheaper. It's less expensive, big time. And it's way cheaper feeling and stuff than the one that used to be on StewMac. But it's way less expensive. And it basically works. There's a couple little workarounds you got to do. I'll show you when I make the video. You know what I mean? But you got to be honest about that stuff. You just can't say, this thing is amazing and I found it on Amazon, because it's not the same. It's not the same. If you're real honest about it. So we try to be really, really honest about that stuff. Super important to me to make sure that that we convey that kind of information to you correctly, you know. I just mainly make videos on the stuff I buy and use and my experience with it. Yeah, same. Yeah. And if you share the bad with the good and be like, okay, I bought this thing and it sucks, that's good too, you know? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else. Bass content with any kind of frequency. So everybody asks me all the time, why don't you make more bass content? Well, the reason is I'm a guitar player. I'm not a bass player. I don't play bass. The bass products that we have. So we have jazz bass pickups. We have precision bass pickups. And we have 51P bass pickups. And I don't play bass. I did not develop the tone for those products. I let bass players do that. So they're good. They're great. They sound awesome. And if you ask anybody who's ever bought my bass stuff, they'll tell you that it's awesome. But that's not because I told you so. That's because they're telling you so. Because I don't know. Bass people, bass players, y'all are weird. Y'all like, it's interesting how what they're looking for in an instrument is totally different. And the tone that they're looking for and the response that they're looking for is completely different. It's a totally different purpose. It is a different instrument, right? It works the same. It's based on the same science. So an electromagnetic pickup with, kinetic transducer, basically kinetic energy into electricity. It's the same thing on an electric bass, but the result and the desired result is different. Way different. And so I don't have enough experience with it to be like, well, I'm going to make a bass video and everybody's going to think it's awesome and they're going to buy my stuff. We don't sell a lot of bass stuff because I can't really promote it because I'm not a bass player. It's not my focus. We do have it. People do buy it. Everybody likes it. It's good, but you're not going to see a lot of content from me about it. The other thing is setup. I can set up a bass. I can. But again, bass players want different stuff. And so while it is the same, again, the end result, the desired end result is different. And so I'm just not familiar enough with it. People, and what's funny is, people get angry about it. Like I'm leaving them out. And I'm like, I'm not leaving you out. I just don't know. When I'm telling you, to be honest with you, I don't know. So I'm not going to act like I do. I'm just not going to act like I do. Now, the stuff we make is good. Like I said, it's great. But I'll tell you, I had two bass players from Nashville Actually three different bass players from Nashville work with me on my jazz bass stuff, on my 5-string jazz bass stuff, which we don't actually sell. We do that. It's a custom one-off thing. Our P bass stuff. And these are guys that play in Nashville all the time. They are professional musicians. They do what they do. They know their stuff. And they have a bunch of vintage instruments that they could actually compare stuff with and all that kind of thing. So I really trust their judgment. I trust who they are. I trust their experience. I trust what they do. And I worked with them and we made this stuff and they love it. So we've been selling bass stuff for a long time. But like I said, I just don't have the experience. I just don't know. I don't really care. I'm not a bass player. I'm not going to be. Now I can like plunk around and like do what I want to do in my bedroom for sure. You know, but I'm not, I will not tell you that I know anything about it, if that makes sense. Let's look at some of these comments and get caught up here real quick. I'm glad you don't do cheap guitars that are as good as Gibson, etc. videos. They have nothing new to offer. I agree. And that whole competition for mediocrity makes no sense to me. And I don't think it, well, we'll get into it here in a minute, but I don't think it serves the hobby very well as much as people think. We'll get into it. Oh, because the next thing, number 5, is Chinese brand reviews, which is this. So cheap guitar stuff. I won't do them. I've done a couple ever. And I just don't like to do them. People will call me a snob because of that. Because I like nice stuff. I do. But let me tell you why. I want a new guitar player. Okay. Like the video we made yesterday. I've been giving this a lot of thought, actually. The video we made yesterday. Whatever it takes to get somebody to play guitar, that's what I want to do. It is my belief that if you have a new guitar player, okay, or someone who can't afford an expensive guitar, there are reliable and very good instruments out there that can put them into the ecosystem. Okay. So people might think these things are stupid, but there's a reason for them. If you buy one of these Chinese off-brand guitars, we don't even need to bring up a bunch of brand names. What do you get? You get a guitar in the mail, right? In a box. That's it. You might, maybe, get a return process, maybe, if you're lucky, if there's a problem. You might get a guitar that works. Everything, right? And what you will get, no matter what, is a largely forgettable experience. Okay, so it puts a guitar in your hands. So you have that. But it puts you into a situation where you have one of those guitars. And it's not one of these guitars. Whether you think that is relevant or not, whether you think that matters or not, it's up for debate depending on who you talk to. My contention is that if you get, let's take Fender. If you go and buy a classic vibe Telly, okay, $459, whatever they are. It's not $200, but what does that mean? You got to save for 2 more months, 3 more months, and you get over one of these Chinese knockoff things. And yes, classic vibe is Chinese guitar. I get it. But what you do get, here's what you do get. You get put into an ecosystem, okay? Locally, with your friends, your guitar store, the Facebook groups, all that kind of stuff, because of brand recognition. Now, people will say, I don't buy because of a brand on the headstock. Well, okay. But maybe you don't. But the thing is as a new guitar player, it's important because they want to be part of a community, right? And for a new guitar player, all you really want to do is to pull the thing out of the box and know that you're on the right track. So if you buy a Fender Squier and then you get the little email that says sign up for Fender Play. So you got the app on your phone and now you're learning songs and you got a tuner and you're part of a thing, right? And people are like, that thing is dumb. Okay, it might be dumb to you because maybe you've been playing guitar for however long and it's not relevant to you. But for a new anything, anybody, anywhere, any hobby, when you get the email and it's like, come be part of our community, come be part of our thing that's been around for 75 years and we want you to be a part of it. And then it puts you into this ecosystem that is now expandable. Now it's got some future to it, right? And it's inspiring. It's inspiring. It might not be for you. It might not be for you, but because I've talked to new guitar players about this. I talk to them all the time. I talk to most of the people. In fact, I was just talking to somebody about a week ago who's telling me about his favorite guitar. And it was like a $400 Epiphone with a bolt-on neck. That's the majority of new guitar players. And if the brand name makes them excited, then it's worth what they paid for it. End of story. I feel it's really, really important. And so I'm not going to promote a bunch of off-brand garbage. I'm just not going to. It puts, the other thing too, is that it puts uncertainty into it. Because lack of familiarity with the brand will automatically put in someone's head, is this thing good enough? Right? If it is a brand that they're familiar with, they at least know, and they buy it from a good retailer, they at least know I can return it if there's a problem, that, another one will be available, that people will know about it, that if I have a problem, it'll be very easy to find service, right? It's a difference between buying many of you might not be, motorbike people or whatever, but I'll give you and so, those of you that get this will get this. So let's say you buy a gas dirt bike, right? It's an Italian thing. Or are they Spanish? They're from Spain. They're really cool. And they're kind of a KTM, kind of not, which is Austrian, right? Or do you buy a Honda? Now, you know what a Honda is. See, like how many people in right now listening to this is like, well, I know what a Honda dirt bike is. Even if you don't ride a dirt bike, you know what a Honda dirt bike is. You probably know what color it is. It's red, right? But nobody knows what a gas is. And then all of a sudden there's this uncertainty. Well, if it breaks, can I fix it? Is there parts? Is this compatible? Is that compatible? And then you have to go in the forums and be like, okay, this year to this year has the same forks as this other bike. So if I need seals, then I have to do this. And then blah, 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 blah. That's all those off-brand guitars. If you buy a Squier, you buy an Epiphone, you buy a PRS SE, simple. It's all that goes away. And because even if you don't ride dirt bikes, you know what a Honda dirt bike is. You probably, like I said, it's red, right? Ride red. It's Honda. You see it on TV all the time. Even in the car commercials, they got Honda dirt bikes. Like you kind of know what a Honda dirt bike looks like, even if you're not familiar. Exact same thing with the guitar stuff, and it just takes all that uncertainty away from it, and uncertainty takes away from the experience for two reasons. One, it takes it away because now you're worrying about your thing and you're not being creative with it. Okay. And two, it takes away the community that focuses too much on that stuff. Because the last thing you want to do with your best friend or your best friend's kid who wants to play guitar is dump them into a Facebook group with a bunch of Harley Benton guys saying that this is just as good as a Gibson and blah, 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 but I have to do all this work to make it halfway decent. That's the last headache you want to give to your best friend's kid, right? What you really want to do is be like, bro, I play a Les Paul. It's $3,000. I know you can't afford that right now, but look at this Les Paul for $500. It looks just like it, and it's super cool. It's made by the same company, more or less. And, you know, this is a great place to start. And then all of a sudden you have this camaraderie and it's a thing. And all of a sudden he's super stoked. Instead of being like, dump you over here so you can argue with all these people about how cheap they are. Makes no sense. It's just not a thing. I don't think it's constructive. So I'm not going to make the videos. Kyle Ketchmonia, I don't like expensive guitars because there's nothing to mod. I like cheap, but not too cheap. I don't know. I'm like this. Sorry. Dude, I love that. I think it's great. I think it's great. It's not about cheap guitars. Cheap guitars are awesome. They're great. I just think, and I know you have Epiphones, right? You have a Casino, I think, and you have some neat stuff, right? So we're not talking about not liking inexpensive instruments. I just want to make sure that what we promote here is constructive to guitar players wanting to continue, wanting to mod, wanting to grow, and giving them a path to growth, right? And I think that's super important. So we're not going to do those Chinese knockoff videos. Number 6, we're not going to do much We've never done recording stuff that much. First of all, people don't watch it. A lot of people will say, what about recording studio stuff? You know, we might do a Kemper thing here and there. I tried and nobody watched it because they know it's not my thing. And I'm not that good at it. Well, I am. Well, I should say I am. But again, this is in a function versus the ability to pass on the information thing. In a video format. There are some people, now I could teach you what I know. Like, for example, I could do live sound. I've done it hundreds of times. I can mix a record. I can work in a studio all week. I really can. I've done it many times. I grew up doing it. We had a studio. We mixed for other people. We've done, shoot, man, I've recorded a lot of guitar players, recorded a lot of fiddle players, like banjo players, acoustic guitar players. And you're like, well, why isn't your stuff better recorded then? Because I don't care. It doesn't serve the content that I'm making. And I also don't have the setup for it. So I just don't think it's something that I really want to get into that much. And there's also some of this stuff, teaching other people to do stuff. I could teach my kids how, because they're here and I could be like, here, over the next few weeks, I'm going to show you some stuff and you can pick it up and you'd be good at it. But to put it in bite-sized video pieces, it's just not something that I have a knack for in that area. And so I just wouldn't really do it. Let's see. Phil McKnight talked last week about the importance to vet and the effort involved prior to doing a review of a small off-brand manufacturer. Yeah, and you know, did you see a couple weeks ago when he opened up his video and he's like, I hate doing these videos. I don't know why I'm doing another one where you guys are making me review a cheap guitar. He started his video that way. I'm just not going to do it. Let's see. Number 7. I guess this kind of falls into the same thing. Battle of the cheapest anything. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Like, this is the cheapest. This. Which one's the best? Nope. Guitar tuners. I don't care. I'm going to buy the best. Period. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the thing that works. Might not be the best, but I'm going to buy the thing that works. I'm going to buy the thing for me. Here's how I do reviews. Somebody mentioned earlier. I buy what I'm going to use, and I buy it. I don't let anybody give it to me. I buy it. And I use it, and I like it. And then I tell you why I like it. And I tell you what I don't like about it. And if there's something better, I'll go find that. And then maybe compare those two, because maybe am I going to move to the new thing? Or am I going to return the new thing because, the one I had already does everything I needed to do. You know what I mean? That's how I handle that stuff. Let's see. Oh, number 8. Charity / giveaway to poor kid videos. We're never going to do that stuff. That's one thing I'll never do. Some of this stuff, obviously, if I learn something and want to share it with you, I'll share it with you. But that's something I'll never do. One time we had a guitar situation where somebody said his house burned down, blah, 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 blah. Or I don't know. I remember it happened. Maybe something got stolen, or I don't know. And one of you actually offered to pay for the parts to have the thing fixed. So he sent it here. I fixed it. And I made a big video about it. It was awesome, super cool, this and that. I was really excited about doing it. It was super fun, helped the guy out. It's like $500 worth of stuff. Of course, I didn't pay for it. One of you paid for it, but I did all the work and I made the parts. So, I had investment in it too. Come to find out, I don't know, 3-4 months later, a relative of his saw that video and actually called me on the phone and was like, the dude's a total liar and you totally got scammed. He's like a complete pathological liar, and that is all made up. This is what his real name is. This is where he lives. This is who he lives with. This is the whole. And so he gave me all this homework I could do and literally go look up his entire life on Facebook and stuff. Sure enough. I was like, well, I'm never doing that again. Never doing that again. And what I would encourage you to do, if you're one of those folks who gets in the comments and says, well, why don't you just give that guitar to a poor kid? Why don't you do that? You could go to your local Goodwill or your local, a lot of used bookstores will have really inexpensive guitars in there for $50, $75, $100. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. Go buy a real inexpensive guitar and find somebody that you think is worthy and give them a guitar. That's if that's really important to you and you're not just some kind of virtue signaling moron, which I think most of the people that talk about this stuff are. I'm just going to call it like I see it. And they're just pissed because I smashed a guitar, or they're just pissed because I dropped a guitar, or they're just pissed because I talked about burning a guitar, even though I didn't. They're just pissed because they're not happy people, apparently. Or if you really mean it, so let's say there's somebody, one of you, who isn't like that. Maybe you don't totally hate life and, you're not completely miserable. Like most of these folks I think are that make these comments. Maybe you're genuine about it. I don't want to take that away from you. Go do that. I have done that. It's really fun. I bought a guitar for a video. Y'all probably remember it. I went to a local guitar store here and I bought a Fender Affinity Telecaster and a Boss Katana amp. And I think a tuner and something. And I gave it to a friend of mine. He was not a child. He was an adult. I gave it to a friend of mine. And to this day, he will text me every once in a while and be like, man, I play this thing all the time. I'm so grateful for this thing. It's so fun. I really love it. Which is super cool, right? but as far as charities and giveaways and all that kind of stuff, because I've looked into that, like there's a bunch of like gun YouTubers and car YouTubers and everybody who's doing various things. Like you can win a fancy gun or you can win a car and $5,000 or whatever. I've looked into all that and it doesn't really work. Basically what happens for me, anytime I do any kind of giveaway stuff or any kind of let's raise money for a charity or anything like that, basically what happens is folks that don't necessarily believe in what we do will follow us to want to be a part of that, but they don't really believe in what we do. And then if it doesn't go the way they want it to, then they get super hateful about it. And I hate to do that. I don't want to introduce negativity into the community like that. So that's why I don't do it. That's not to say that we don't give charitably, but I think that sort of thing is more a personal thing. I don't talk about it on the internet. I'm not going to tell you, I donated some companies do that. They're like 10% of whatever is always going to go to whatever. And, we could do that, I guess, but I don't like that. You can do it, but for me personally, I feel like it's a more personal thing. So, we donate charitably every month. We have a few things that we do as a family, but that's what we do as a family. So it's not something that we do publicly. You know what I mean? And anything that we do publicly, I think I would never want anybody to get the idea that we're trying to do it for profit, if that makes sense, right? Because some of these things I've seen them like, you buy this thing and you become part of a drawing and it raises this money and then you win a gun or you win a whatever. Like you're making money on that, man. I could tell because I know how it works. Like I've looked into it. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, we just kind of keep that stuff in the family. A set of your pickups is worth a whole guitar. Why don't you donate several hours of your time in paycheck form to charity too? Yeah, I mean, sure. I love it, Matt. It's funny. Matt and I have talked about this. What do you think I'm doing? Sitting right here. Or anytime we make one of these videos. But see, here's the thing. I will not cloak it in I'm like giving away free stuff. No, here's what I'm doing. It's the top of a marketing funnel. Our videos are the top of a marketing funnel. That's what they are. That's what you do. So that's what I've invested my time in. And that's what I do. Let's see. Number 9. Reviews of stuff I don't like. We talk about this a lot. Man, we get emails every day. I think last Thursday, I talked about this in the live stream with Leslie. Last week, we got an email from somebody who was going to pay me $3,000. And all I had to do was sign the contract. It was done. It was a done deal. To make a promotional video of their product for sparkling water on this channel. Now, y'all know I like, and it's not this company. I like sparkling water. Y'all know that because I drink it all the time. But I don't actually like the stuff that this company makes that sent me that email. So if I was, if I was a jerk, I would be like, heck yeah, man, I'll take the money, send me a bunch of free product. And I would sit through the garbage and I would make a completely irrelevant video to the channel. Nobody would watch it because it has nothing to do with what we do, but I'd make $3,000. That's like a whole Les Paul, or 2 Texas toasts, right? I mean, that's a lot of money. So I could do that, but I didn't even email them back. I mean, I have the contract still. I could sign it and send it back, but nope, I'm not going to. So you're not going to see a sparkling water review on this channel because it's so dumb. Oh my gosh. We get every week, we get like probably every day, we probably get 3 or 4. Here's this Chinese microphone. or this microphone stand, or this knockoff of a knockoff of a knockoff tuner for $3, and we'll give you, affiliate links and whatever. And or maybe it's a guitar stand that makes no sense, or it's I don't know. Shoot. Well, Harley Benton. I mean, they've reached out to me a bunch of times. I always tell them no. Firefly. Who else? Bunch of people. And here's the thing, okay? Let's take Harley Benton. So, what are those guitars? $200 to $400, depending on which one you get, ish. So if I could sell 10 guitars with every video that I make about a Harley Benton, and I get 10%, that money racks up pretty quick. Real quick. So, and here's what people don't realize is that video stays out there for perpetuity. So, like, let's say, so now think about people like, well, I don't want to name names, but think about YouTubers that talk all the time about those inexpensive brands with affiliate links. And those videos get thousands of views, way more than mine do. And then they stay out there for years and years and years, right? So one of my most popular videos on this channel is 10 years old. And it still every month is in the top 10 of stuff that watches. It's the 250 versus 500K pots, the original one that I did. So let's say that was a Harley Benton video. Still, 11 years later, it's the most popular video we've ever made, almost. It's in the top 10 of 1,500. That video, if it was a Harley Benton video, would still sell guitars to this day. It would be selling guitars for me for 11 years, cumulatively, making me thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But I don't like the product, so I'm not going to do it. There you go. Crazy, right? Super crazy. Let's see. Number 10, counterfeit stuff. Did it once, never do it again. Nope. Not one time. That wasn't even on purpose. But I'll never do it again. Yeah. That is, nope. Don't believe in it. Absolutely not. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I'm really having fun. I tell you, these Friday videos driving in the car have been really fun. You know what they make me think of? Do you remember, speaking of controversial kind of jerks, if you didn't really know him, but I knew him. I've talked to him a bunch. Remember that channel, Will's Easy Guitar? I think did he own a company called Galvin Guitars? And man, people really thought he was an ass. That's probably kind of why I liked him, because he was pretty edgy, and he would say what nobody else was willing to say. And he would give you remember he would stand up at the whiteboard and he would give you like breakdowns of various things. And, he would talk about tone wood. He would talk about the cost of parts and manufacturing guitars. He'd talk about all his behind the scenes stuff. And did he know everything? No. Did he kind of talk out the side of his head sometimes? Yeah. But overall, I really liked him. And then one day he's like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I can't take it anymore. And he stopped. And, but one of the videos he used to do, I'll never forget, like in the old days, way in the beginning when he was doing it, is he'd drive around and he would literally have like a GoPro or something sitting on the seat of his car. So it'd literally just be like the bottom of his face and like the roof of his car. Do you remember those videos? They're so good. They're always so good. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I like that. I think it's fun. Plus, I'm kind of out of time. Like I don't have much more time in the week to make more content. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get one of them suction cup things for the windshield. We're going to throw a nicer camera on it, obviously. It's 2025. We can do that. And make those videos. They're super fun. And educational. And it gives me a chance people really like those kind of deep dive, super nerdy things. I'm like, it gives me a chance to just drive and talk and get super nerdy about stuff. So if you've watched one of those videos, get in the comment section in those videos and ask a question, because I go scour those videos themselves for the next week. That's how I do it. So go watch last week's, ask a question in the comment section, and then, or don't watch it. Just go in the comment section and ask a question. And then next week I'll pick one and we keep perpetuating it like that. Super fun. These are really fun. I love doing these. I love doing the Thursday night live stream thing. Me and Leslie. I think we're gonna have a special guest this Thursday, so that's gonna be fun. So yeah, I think we're having a lot of fun making the stuff we make, and I'm really enjoying doing it. I've kind of got have the bug. You go in streaks where it's like, oh my god, 3-4 videos a week. What am I going to talk about next? Oh, I don't know. There's only 39 parts in a guitar or whatever. Like, I've already talked about them so many times. How can we keep going? So you go through streaks like that, and then something hits me, and I'm like, this is super fun. So I'm having fun. I'm having super amounts of fun. So thanks, everybody, for watching today and listening today. And we will see you. I think we actually do have a video tomorrow. It might not be until Thursday, though, but we'll definitely have a video on Friday. And we're trying to do a lot more updating and stuff on Patreon. So check out patreon.com. That's right down here. To support the channel as well. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next video.